What's up everybody, it's TJ with Darpino Media, and today we're talking about how to shoot better real estate video. So I've been shooting real estate videos for going on a year now professionally, and I've learned a lot of tips along the way, and I'd like to share that with you. Let's get right into it. Number one, automatic. Turn off automatic everything. If you're shooting automatic exposure or automatic white balance, turn that off right now. The easiest way to make your videos look super amateur is by the white balance changing or the exposure changing right in the middle of a shot. So speaking of white balance, that's actually one thing I wanted to talk about. I see a lot of people struggle with white balance because it's like you're always fighting between tungsten lighting and outside daylight lighting, and it's like people don't know where to set their white balance. I don't have like the official answer on what you should do, but what I like to do is whatever the room is primarily being lit with, say if the room is really sunny and there's a lot of daylight coming in, there's a lot of natural light pouring in, then I'll set it to daylight. If the tungsten lighting is lighting it primarily, then I'll set it to tungsten. So the next thing I want to talk about is frame rate. So primarily you're probably going to be shooting either 24 frames per second or 60 frames per second. I've shot both, and I usually base that on the lightness of the house. If there's a lot of good light, I'll definitely shoot 60 frames per second. If it's kind of bad lighting, I'll go to 24 frames per second and just slow my movements a little bit so that I can stop my shutter down a lot lower so I'm not raising up my ISO and causing that really ugly noise. And probably 90% of the time now, I shoot in 60 frames per second. And it just does a world of difference for you. It allows you to do speed ramps. It allows you to have ridiculously smooth shots. Even though I'm on a gimbal, the 60 frames and slowing it down to 40% really helps a lot. What lens should you use? I would say the lens that you have. Typically the wider the better, but you don't want a fisheye. You don't want that warping to start happening when you get close to subjects and it starts warping the lines. I also try to have a lens that lets in the most amount of light as possible. On the 12 to 35, it can go to 2.8, which is perfect. It lets in a good amount of light. I don't have to raise my ISO so much. And the wider you are, the more stuff is in focus. So it's not like you have to fight focus constantly at a 2.8. So if you're shooting real estate professionally, you're definitely going to want a Steadicam or a gimbal. When I first started, I was using this cheap, newer Steadicam. I got it from Amazon for like 80 bucks or something like that, and it was a struggle to get some really good shots. But I got the job done, and I built up from there, basically built my gear as I got more jobs. Now I'm using the Zhiyun Crane 2. Zhiyun, I don't know how to say it, but you get the picture. It's absolutely changed the game for me. If you're doing real estate, you're gonna want a gimbal, trust me. So as far as shots go, when you're actually inside of these houses, using a lot of reveals is great. Like when you take a door frame and you shoot around the door frame, you kind of help the door frame reveal the inside of the bedroom or inside of the house or the kitchen or whatever. Just use something to reveal the subject, and it kind of gives your viewers something to focus on. Another thing is I like to get really low, not like crawling on the floor, army crawl low, but like maybe a little bit below chest level, and shoot a little bit up at an angle because it makes the house feel a little bit bigger. Especially if you're in houses that are a little bit claustrophobic, because sometimes I'll do houses that are like in the city and they're townhouses and they're just a little bit small, and making them feel a lot bigger will really make people just that much more intrigued. Another good thing to think about when you're shooting is that whatever movement you decide to do, say you're panning right or sliding right, the next shot you kind of want to follow that same pattern. The last thing you want to do is have something going all the way to the right and then instantly just swapping to the left. That kind of throws people off. An easy way that I figured out how to get out of that, because sometimes it feels like you're just kind of like right. An easy way I figured out how to get out of that is I'll find an easy like dolly in shot or a dolly out shot, something that's kind of straight or back, and that kind of helps you change direction. So if you're going right and then you pan in and then you go to reveal to the left, it doesn't feel as shocking. It's kind of like a smooth transition. But that's a good way to kind of like transition from the different angles and stuff like that. So the ultimate goal when shooting real estate is to keep it interesting. And I do that by not staying on the same shots for too long. I don't try and focus on one area too much. Sometimes people think that they have to add everything, every angle, everything possible. And really what I think of when I do real estate videos is just trying to keep people's attention. If I can keep somebody's attention for that 2 minutes or whatever the video length is, that is job completed, because it is incredibly hard to keep people's attention nowadays. Just remember, you don't have to add everything, every angle from everywhere. Make sure you ask your client if there's anything specific that they want you to showcase, because the last thing you want is to get the finished product done, send it over to them, and then they're like, oh, did you get this shot? And you're like, oh, I didn't think it was necessary. Just a little bit of communication and that'll solve that problem. So music choices, that's kind of like a personal thing. I tend to like more upbeat things. I don't like the same boring kind of corporate songs. I think they bore me to death. I try and stick in like the hip hop genre, something dancey, something upbeat. Obviously, once again, this is something you talk to your clients about, because if they want corporate, you do corporate. If they're more of like progressive team and they kind of want something fun and upbeat, then have fun with it. I actually have a subscription to Artlist and I have a subscription to SoundCloud. So check out both of those websites. They have some great music on there for real estate and any other videos that you're doing. So when you're editing to the music, make sure you're editing to the beat. So when there's a beat, you're cutting on the beats. That's the one way to make sure that your editing, it just flows really nice. Another great thing to keep in mind is just that you need to have fun with these. I mean, there's no right way to do it. There's no wrong way to do it. The end goal is just to make your client happy, to make potential customers for that client happy. You just want to grab people's attention and have fun. I mean, I've done everything from an infomercial to regular walkthrough videos to stories to, we did a Stranger Things parody, which you can probably find on my channel. But yeah, I mean, we do a lot of fun stuff, and it's all about grabbing attention in the long run. If you help them get new clients, they're gonna keep coming back to you. You're gonna keep having good, solid business, and everyone's gonna be happy. Okay, so that's all I've got for you guys. If there's anything that I missed, if there's anything that you'd like to add, please leave a comment below. I'll definitely respond. I'm always looking to grow. I'm always looking to learn more things and get better and just do better work for my clients. So yeah, that's it. Until next time.